Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. This is episode 508 of the Ping Pong Flix Show. It's been kind of a weird day. Uh, you know, Amidst all the craziness that is the coronavirus, the COVID-19, lockdown, shutting down here and there, lots of things I could probably talk about tomorrow on my live chat tomorrow night for anybody who cares. But for now, this is all about DC. And this one came out this morning. Right in the morning, The Wrap reporting the Warner Brothers debates whether Wonder Woman 1984 should skip theaters for streaming, right? And in that little subtext here is this discussion at Warner follows Universal's plan to distribute Trolls World Tour on streaming platforms and skip theaters. So, I'm going to refrain for letting you click on this because it is a big clickbait. Big clickbait, right? But before we get into that, just letting you know before you skip out and try to read up on this article, there is a paywall, I think, that you have to go through before you can actually read it. The idea of Wonder Woman 1984 skipping theaters to streaming is a rather something that it's probably unprecedented, just like what has happened in life. There are no theaters right now. Theaters are being closed down everywhere. Or the crowd phobia of just going into a theater, and a lot of different, production companies, distributors are sending that to VOD, or, delaying it further, things like that. Now we know from yesterday what I talked about that Japan is pretty sure that Wonder Woman 1984 is going to be in Japan in theaters on June 12th. And up in the air with theatrically for America as well. So a Wonder Woman is a big title. It's a theatrical title. What I mean is that the biggest draw, the biggest money they can recoup for a movie like this, of this blockbuster movie, would be in theaters, right? I think all the marketing dollars, everything was put in forth so that it could get its money back in the theaters. So most likely it would delay. But during this unprecedented time, with the COVID-19, this whole scare throughout the world, is that this pandemic has caused theaters, has caused the industry, the entertainment industry, to react in so different ways. In a sense that they're trying to make up their loss, they're trying to get it out there quickly, they're trying to make money off of things quickly. Streaming is such a big thing that it is possible that it could happen. But it's not referred to in this article. In fact, this article is a giant clickbait. In fact, a couple users has put out some of the screenshots of inside the article, if you can't go and read it yourself. Warner president of domestic distribution, Jeff Goldstein, told The Wrap that there have not been any streaming discussions. We're looking to release the movie theatrically. That's our plan, he said. An individual close to the film confirmed that Jenkins has had no discussions with the studio about a streaming option. Rovin also dismissed the idea of a streaming-only release. It's ludicrous if you consider how big a movie this is, he said in an interview. Everybody recognizes that as interesting as streaming might be, if you want a huge global worldwide box office, you've got to release it in the movie theater, right? So that's in big letters, big words right there. Charles Rovin saying exactly that. Why would The Wrap put together, I get it, it's for clickbait, but even suggesting that they even have discussions in their headline, it's really... It's maybe you're debating, maybe The Wrap is debating about it, but it seems like Warner Brothers is not debating at all. Could it happen? Sure. If it got to the point that there's nothing going to be released this year, they're going to have to do some drastic things. But it looks like Warner Brothers has every intention right now to release Wonder Woman 1984 at a certain period of time globally at a worldwide box office. So it could actually very much happen. You see in China is what they're doing is they're actually gonna rumored has it they're gonna actually try to release like 4 Avenger movies. They're gonna subsidize ticket sales, so essentially it's free for the general audience to go and check it out. So there is that. So with China just coming back in, and with Japan pretty confident that you can release in June 12th. This may end in the summer, this whole COVID-19 thing, and people will start to go back to theaters. And one of the biggest draws, maybe, to get you back in the theater seats would be Wonder Woman 1984. So that's some good news out of that, right? Now, let's go into Screen Rant. Screen Rant has gotten a couple things that are really cool, and this is just by talking to. Well, this one thing is not that cool, but it's still in information in regards to The Flash. Screen Rant spoke to stunt coordinator Eunice Hudhart. I don't think I'm saying it, or Huthart, about her work on Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Amidst that conversation, the question of what she's working on next arose, and her answer seems to confirm The Flash was going to start pre-production next month. The project I was due to start is The Flash. I was supposed to start at about the end of April, beginning of May. I'm not sure what's happening now with that, which is a very, God, it's very frustrating to see for this movie, The Flash. It has gone through so many delays. It has gone through several different directors, different writers, and it feels like it's never coming out, and this whole COVID-19 has pushed it even further. A further delay with that. I'm hoping it's not too much to the point that it will never start shooting. Once it starts going to not pre-production, but actually production, then we can get a little bit excited. But even at pre-production, there's still a sense that it still might not come out because some things could happen, creative differences. I don't know. Name a ton of different things why a movie will get delayed, and that's one of them. So this thing is not going well for the movie theaters at all. So I hope this all blows over soon so that we can get these movies start to roll. After Fantastic Beasts have to go through first, then Ezra Miller's The Flash, it's going to be a little while longer until we actually see Ezra Miller return as the Scarlet Speedster. Or maybe we don't have to wait too long because he is in Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Snyder Cut. Now, this is one of the biggest articles Steven had put out today on Screen Rant, and it is in regards to Justice League stunt coordinator Eunice. Says many people she knows have seen the Snyder Cut, and they all say it's amazing. Let's read into this a little bit. As we know, he recounts here that Jason Momoa had described it as being it's sick, having other people have seen it as too. Many more teases than that. I'll link this article in the description below. But Justice League stunt coordinator Eunice Huthart spoke with Screen Rant during an interview for the home release of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, where she also served as stunt coordinator. When asked about the topic of the Snyder Cut, Huthart had a lot to say. Yeah, there are a few questions about that, and I'm sure that I'm okay to say I officially know people who've seen the Snyder Cut and said it's absolutely amazing. And I do believe that that's the movie we were making, Zack Snyder's version of the film. With the heartache of what happened with his daughter, we pulled out and did the reshoots of it, so the movie took a slightly different turn. I watched the cinema release of the film, and I texted Zack to say, "What's this I'm hearing about this Snyder Cut? I need to see it." And he did promise me next time I'm in LA that I'll go watch it. So I will at some point definitely go and watch the Snyder Cut. And I have spoken to people who actually said it's brilliant. They said it's absolutely golden. Absolutely golden, guys. That is an amazing compliment. It just boggles my mind. Why did they even bother messing with it at all? When there's so many people out there saying it's such an absolutely brilliant, it's amazing, it's sick. It's absolutely golden. I cannot wait to watch this. So, one, there's a Snyder Cut. She just absolutely says it exists right there. Zack telling her that exists right there. I don't think we need to have that conversation anymore. If there are still conversations of that, I don't know what's wrong with you guys. But it's beyond that now. We're just waiting for that announcement, for that release. We definitely need that, because it sounds amazing. It sounds like a lot of people have been able to see it, and I really want to be one of those people, right? Even with the knowing that Zack needs to do additional photography, knowing that Zack needs to do this or that with it, possibly, it's still exciting to know that it feels like it's really coming out 100%. Like Sean O'Connell said, he's 100% confident it's coming out. I believe it as well. I believe it's still going to be announced this year, possibly released either later this year or next year. I don't know. This whole COVID-19 has really messed things up in every industry together, but I hope it still means that this thing is coming out. I really do think this is probably a prime time for it to go along, right? I mean, Steven kind of sums it up right here. Nevertheless, the Snyder Cut is far further along than many other productions who saw production halted. So if there is any way to complete and release it in the near future, it'll surely be a welcome boon to a Hollywood bottom line hurting from delays and cancellations. Even just as a carrot for HBO Max, the time to release the Snyder Cut has never been better, excluding its originally intended release date, of course. So, and, to the next article, why HBO Max is perfect for releasing Snyder Cut. Like I said, we're going in the time where we're kind of in the age of digital streaming, especially this, even though this is a terrible thing that's happening around the world. It's horrible. It's terrible for every industry, and even my own industry. But just looking at what it's doing, it's pushing the idea of the streaming service even harder. It's generating interest in digital streaming even harder. It's pushing the interest and debate of whether movies should go straight to streaming, VOD, what have you, even harder. And it's pushing the idea of this is a perfect time to release a Snyder Cut. Right after he finishes everything up, at least announce it. Would even work wonders. For me right now, I just care that they announce it. If I have to wait a year for the actual movie, I'm okay with it as long as they announce it. Because once they announce it, it's coming. So that's all I want from that. But it's even a greater possibility for that to come out now. We've seen a lot of people who have never really championed or asked for a release of Snyder Cut start asking for it now out of the blue, like check marks from every type of different industry says, hey, it might be about time to release a Snyder Cut. People are bored. They're at home. They're in self-isolation. They're watching everything they can on every single digital streaming service. They want more content, and the one biggest content that that a studio could put out right now, or announce it right now, is Zack Snyder's Justice League, and that's what I believe. All right, guys. Well, that is it for tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Please stay safe, wash your hands, and stay at home. Self-isolate. Check out Netflix. Check out anything, or just check out any of my videos that I have now. And I'll see you next time. All right, guys. Bye-bye.